Welcome to Emerge and Empower Podcast TV, a platform where resilience meets transformation. Here, we amplify voices that have faced trials, trauma, and adversity, stories that inspire hope, healing, and empowerment. Every episode brings raw, unfiltered conversations with individuals who have risen from hardship, embracing faith, strength, and purpose. Join us as we break the silence, uplift one another, and emerge stronger together. New episodes air Wednesdays at 6 p.m. English and Saturdays at 6 p.m. with select Saturdays in Creole for our Haitian audience.
Hey everyone, welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome back to Emerge and Empower with your host, Dr. Lynn J, of course. And we are here for the Shemergence Virtual Conference. This is session 6. Yes, session 6. And we are continuing on this journey that talks about the healing before the seat. Now, if you haven't seen it already, my pre-orders are out for my book, which is called Unholy at the Table. This takes you through moments where I felt unworthy of healing, undeserving of love, and I also brought in the religious hurt that I experienced as I went through yet another trauma. Now, those who've already grabbed it are like, oh my God, I'm already crying from the intro, let alone get into the story. So you can actually read this book in one day. Now, my first book, which was Shemergence, I Am She, it had about 200 pages, and people will still be able to read it in one day if you're an avid reader. Those who couldn't did it in 2 days. All right. So it is a quick read. It will take you through, but there is more in store. You need to get it. So it's not just you reading, but there's some applications. There are some questions. This is a special book. And this book was a book that was dear to my heart. That should have been my very first book, to tell you the truth. But I did take people through a short experience in my doctoral dissertation that I talked about communion and how it's regarded on all the different religious sects, and also to bring it as to what God meant it to be. So this book is talking about my personal experience in relation to the communion. Now, there will be a workbook that you can use in seminars and seminaries, and I will also be using it in our new school that is called UCLAM that will be coming out as well. So there's so much in store before this year is over. So look out, look out, look out. Stay connected. If you haven't subscribed already, go ahead and subscribe to our channel so you can always be aware of what is going on, so you could be caught up, right? Who doesn't want to be caught up? You want to be caught up. You want to be aware of everything that's going on with the Emerge and Empower. And also the magazine. Listen, September magazine is going to be jam-packed. Probably going to be my thickest magazine ever, where all of these stories and everyone that was a part of the virtual conference, we are trying to have everybody come back in. Listen, this is going to be, call it a special edition, all right? A special edition for the Shemergence Virtual Magazine. You also have print capacity now. We didn't have that before. Listen, listen. They say, listen, Linda, listen. Well, Linda is telling you to listen because there is so much in store. Come September, as we are be launching the book that will be launching on September 16. There is more that will be unfolding in September 16. Listen, you have to be at the table, all right? This is a table that you want to be a part of, and I can't tell you enough. Connect, 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 because you are in for a treat. You hear me? You are in for a treat. Are you ready? So we're going to bring our guests on, our panelists on. Some of them were here before, and they're joining back here for the Shemergence experience because they say, yes, Dr. Lynn J, I am she. I am Shemergence. I have emerged. And yes, men have emerged too. So he emergence, okay? Shemergence, he emergence. We're all emerging. And that's why we are on emergence Emerge and Empower. I don't want to waste your time because we got a long segment to go. We have some beautiful ladies on the set ready to go, and I will be bringing them in shortly. Stay tuned. And we're back, and we're back, we're back. Welcome, ladies, to Emerge and Empower podcast. Welcome, 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 welcome. We are so glad you're here for this Shemergence Virtual Conference. And all of you came on and say, yes, Dr. Lynn J, I am she. I have emerged. Many of you have already shared your stories on here. Go ahead and introduce yourself to our audience on today. Welcome. I'm so glad you're here. Anyone can start.
I'll be good. Oh, go ahead. You go ahead.
I'm Candice Van Dertholen. I'm a holistic practitioner and entrepreneurial coach. I'm really excited to be here because I think that each one of us just brings such a beautiful element to this conversation.
Thank you, Candice. Welcome back.
Hi, I'm Debbie Simmons, and I am a CEO of a nonprofit along with an adoptive mom of 9 and a grandma now. So I'm super excited about that. But I love this idea of Shemergence and being able to be a part of that and it resonating with not only who I am, but who I think God calls women to be.
Welcome back, Debbie. Welcome back. Welcome back. Yay!
Hello, everybody. My name is Kellina Powell, aka the Duck Queen Boss. I am so many hats. So I'm a CEO of Kellina Empowerment Inc. So it's actually combined with different things. So I'm a 4-time author, international speaker, and a coach for young adults with disability. And I'm excited to be here. It is my first time here, so I'm excited to meet all of you lovely ladies here. And yeah, thank you.
Welcome, Kellina. We will be hearing her story. Just look out for it. Her story is coming, all right? But this virtual conference is hot, right? It's so hot. People are popping in even before they have their one-on-one interview, and we can't wait to hear Kellina's story because she has a powerful story. We all have them, but hers is one that is not like any other, and we can't wait to hear it. Let's go. Candice. Oh, we already did Candice. Keisha.
Yes, yes. Hello, my name is Keischa Bradley. I am a real estate broker for 20 plus years. Have a number of companies. I don't even know where to start. The basics of it all. I am a servant, full-time ministry as well. The oversight of Push Ministries, apostolic oversight of Push Ministries. And we just launched a branch called Beyond Walls Global Ministry as well. And so, yeah, just a servant at heart, in whichever way I can be used.
And welcome back, Keisha. Keisha was actually a part of my very first Shemergence Virtual Conference, right in the middle of COVID, right? We couldn't do anything else but go virtual. And she was a part of my first conference that I did for my very first book. Can you believe, Keisha? 9 books later, girl, 9 books
Wow, come
later, and
on.
the
Awesome.
third in the series. So we thank God for the work that He is doing. So welcome again back. So again, no one is a stranger and will ever be a stranger to the Emerge and Empower podcast. So thank you again, ladies. Thank you so much for saying yes and said yes. Shemergence, I am she. So we're gonna dive in. For those who have been watching, okay, you must have been living under a rock, right? Because we have been doing this virtual conference, and this is the 6th segment, right? What it's all about. It's the healing before the seat, the moment of where you felt felt unworthy of healing, unworthy of deserving of love. Can you believe that? Where you was like, forget it, I'm not important, I don't matter, and you just got tired, right? But on today, we're going to continue in this virtual conference as we talk about those past traumas, right? Which is building forward with a broken foundation. Building forward. Now, how can you build forward with something that is broken? What I love in the text of the Bible, it tells us he gave us beauty for ashes, all right? So he can take something that is nothing and make it into something beautiful, let alone something that is broken. He is the potter and we are the clay. So we're going to dive right in as we go through the questions, and each of you will be answering those questions based on your personal experience and also your expert opinion. All right. So the first question that we have on today is, how have the past traumas or failures affected your progress? How did those past traumas or failures affected your progress? We can go in any order, and whoever would like to go next.
Nobody wants to be first, so I guess I'll jump.
Well, too polite.
Wow, that's such a powerful question. How have my past traumas or failures affected my progress? Man, are we talking for the extent of my life? You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm,
It
mm-hmm,
wasn't just one. I mean, I could think all the way back in my childhood, where the enemy, tried to get me off course even back then.
mm-hmm,
So, always, well, when I was younger, I was always a little heavy. So it was always that rejection or wanting to fit in and not feeling like you were worthy to fit in or accepted. I don't care where it was, at my family, at school, wherever. And so not having dealt with those things, you grow up and as an adult and you're still dealing with these childhood issues, not realizing what it's called. Back then, I didn't label it as trauma. I didn't even know what trauma was actually until I got into ministry. When I got into ministry, I began, I had a group of women and I was like, Lord, why it seems like everybody is acting the same. They're dealing with the same issues, but everybody got a different face. And I specifically heard so clearly was trauma. And it was like, okay, now it started making sense. So then I started studying to see what that was. And out of that, birthed a book and a couple more coming. But I didn't even realize how emotionally damaging the things that we go through in our childhood can be and how they affect us even in our adulthood.
mm-hmm.
And so, we have to go back and deal with the root of those things, like go all the way back in those years where I never really got over the rejection. So I found that I carried that rejection of trauma as a childhood. I carried that over into my marriage, over into raising my children, over into business, over into ministry. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
Because we
Mm-hmm.
never really took the time to address them. It was years down the line, understanding, and not that many years ago. Okay, it was years of going through that process and trying to figure out the emotions that are attached to trauma, because we think the trauma, we have trauma, it's a physical thing. No, trauma
Mm-hmm.
affects us more emotionally than it does any place else. And so
Right.
for me, it was dealing with the emotions of the trauma, not understanding that I had been traumatized in the first place. And so
Mm-hmm.
everything that occurred, I say life is a process. And so I realize now that everything that happened to me, though I didn't understand, and yes, it broke me, and yes, it traumatized me, and yes, I had low self-esteem issues and all of these other things. Never felt like I fit in, but realized when I got older and I got healed from the trauma, I was never supposed to fit in because he had sanctified me and set me apart. You
Come on.
understand? So it was just all of that I can look now and say, I was bruised, I was broken, but I was blessed in all of that because I learned how to heal from the trauma and to progress from it and not
Mm-hmm.
allow it to lay hold of me. and get stuck in it. You know what I'm saying? So
Right,
yeah.
right. Well, Keisha will be coming on so we can define what her trauma was and what those layers were. This is not that one-on-one segment. We're just talking about a place in the past, even present, because sometimes, believe it or not, last week somebody has faced some type of trauma, but since once you've gone through it in the past and when they come forward, you have a strength that you didn't realize. You know what, God did it before, I've gotten through this before, so you know what, you have different strategies and modalities that you can use to take you through. So ladies, let's continue. How did that trauma affect your progress?
Wow, I think what you said just rings through and through in everything that I see in the work that I do, in
Hmm.
that when we don't heal from these past experiences, it really shows up in every single area of our life. And it's interesting because the patterning might present to us differently, but it's actually the same.
Yeah.
We kind of see those same cycles. And I have something similar where, my story was like I felt so unloved and when I had hit just a rock bottom in my life. And I really didn't physically want to be here anymore. And while I had struggled with it in childhood, I too was overweight and had like all of the, disconnection there. But I struggled with mental health so early on, and it was
Hmm.
never really addressed because we didn't talk about that stuff. We just did
Right.
not talk at all about any of it. And it was actually after, and this is something that's a little personal, but it was after I nearly did take my life that I was in the hospital, and I just realized I really needed to move away from this. And there was a chaplain at the time that spoke with me, and she had said, because I was in an abusive marriage. And so she had said, you do not have to stay in this and you can get better. And I don't know why that's all I needed to hear, but that's all I needed to hear. And I started slowly shifting out of that energy and that knowing that this would be how my life would be forever and into something different. And how it really set me back was I had to really find myself. I had a
Hmm.
whole identity. I want to say shift because I didn't even know who I was at the time,
Right.
when I look back, I don't think I actually ever did because I was always trying to measure up to society and their expectations and never
Yes.
looked inward. So
Yes.
I would say in that, even though I had to hit such a low point in my life, it was literally the catalyst that saved me. And, I have a phoenix on my arm. So when you said rise from the ashes, I just was like, yep, that's exactly why I got that tattoo in general was for that reason. But yeah, I think that when we can take our experience and really use it for divine purpose and help the next person that's struggling, then we don't go through it for nothing. And so
Yes.
that's what I would like to just share with you guys here. Yeah.
Yes. So indeed, because as each and every one of us are going through these past experiences that we've gone through, for some it's childhood. Like in my case, it was childhood trauma, the pains that I went through in that, finding myself, discovery. All right. Everyone's traumatic experience is different. And because the traumatic experience is different, we all still have to face it. We all have to address it. We have to get to a point to either allow this thing to break us, okay, break us, or to bring us together, right? To say, you know what, I refuse to stay down, I deserve more, and to continue. All right, so we'll continue. Debbie.
Yes, I'd be happy to go next. For me, some of the things that were in my journey that maybe have affected my ability to grow and I had to learn my way through
Mm-hmm.
was I had this deep desire to be a young grandma, and I ended up getting started very well, got married, and all I got was infertility for many, many
Wow.
years. And infertility definitely affects your ability to go, am I even worthy as a woman, as a spouse, as a future mother? And I clearly remember laying on the bed with going, I wish I was dead. I was like, I can't do this. And so we ultimately did get pregnant, and then we got pregnant with quads. And the boys were born at 26 weeks, and I held them as they passed into eternity. And so it's like you have 4 years of that, and then you get pregnant, and you get pregnant with quads and everything. And what I believe is the thing that is really the biggest effector of my progress is my willingness to really learn to trust God with my situation. And that is the thing that has been the number one thing for holding me back is, am I willing to trust that God is a good God writing a good story with my life, and that I can trust him? And so that's the biggest thing that's held me back over the years.
All right, all right. And now we're gonna go to Kellina.
Yeah, so I totally relate with everything of one of you ladies on here. For me, honestly, sometimes our path would definitely slow us down. And so for me, my path did definitely slow me down because I became deaf at the age of 4. I was a normal child. I was normal. I know how to communicate. And then all of a sudden, my life just changed, and I didn't fully get to heal my hearing loss as a 4-year-old. How are you supposed to heal from that? And that's
Mm-hmm.
I did struggle a lot in high school because with a whole new transition, a whole new language I had to learn. I did learn sign language and learn how to communicate, but I was trying to fit in 2 different communities where I didn't know who I am as a person. So I had to heal off, and I asked God, why did you give me this gift? And
Mm-hmm.
and it's such a hard process to heal when you face a disability. Not everybody can get over that so quickly.
Right.
And it takes time and time. And for me, as a young woman, I don't even know how I overcome all the trauma that I went through when I was younger because I was also being bullied. I had people did not accommodate me, and I didn't know what to do with myself. And I'm always questioning myself, am I even worth being in this place?
Right.
So it definitely did help me a lot to be with my goal, be more creative with things I have to get done. But yeah,
Wow, wow, wow. So, at 4 years old, did it just suddenly happen, or was it an accident that caused that to happen to you?
so I actually had an ear infection.
Oh, yes, yes. And that is definitely traumatic indeed. I mean, you go from hearing sound and then now there's no sound, right? Wow, wow, wow. So, I mean, even for your parents, that was like a lot for everybody to experience, to even figure out eventually what had happened. Because I'm sure it wasn't overnight, for them to realize, wait, she can't hear me. So it built, and you probably were saying trying to communicate as well. Imagine a 4-year-old, trying to explain how they feel. You understand? Yes, indeed, indeed, indeed. So, as you've heard it here on today for our viewers that are watching, all right, I don't know what that past trauma was that affected your progress. Or maybe you're there right now and you're feeling like you can't move ahead, right? So, each of you ladies here today, when you was in that place where you felt like it was affecting you, what were some of the modalities or what were some of the things that you did in order to move beyond what was affecting you? How did you push through?
Yeah. You know what I want to, can I add something from
Sure.
earlier? What I recognized in all of our journey, all of our story, was that we were trying to fit in to what the world wanted, or what we thought the world needed and wanted us to be.
Indeed.
Our healing came from understanding our individuality within the bigger construct of everything. So I was just
That's
listening.
it.
I was like, wow, we are all of our trauma came from wanting to be just like everyone else when we
That's
are
it.
really divinely individual.
Mhm.
So I wanted to share that. How does that sound for everyone? Did you feel that too?
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, because indeed you have to realize that the world is going on and we're trying so hard to fit in, whether it's to satisfy the husband or someone. There's always someone that we're trying to please, right? Until you realize that that's not reciprocated and you realize, you know what? I got to get my power back, right? I got to get me back. I got to get this remote back because I need to be in control of my life because trying to fit in is only putting more pressure, all right, wanting to be loved from the people who are not, reciprocating love. That's a lot. So now you have to look at yourself and say, you know what, I'm deserving of love. You know what, if they said you're ugly and you look in the mirror and say, you know what, you're beautiful. You understand me? Or you're nothing. And then you look at yourself and you said, I am something. So you had to individually look at yourself and say, you know what? I am worthy. That's the key word there. I am worthy and deserving, and I deserve better. Because when we're in that pity party place, we feel, well, I guess I deserve it. How many people said that? I guess I deserve it. I guess I deserve it. What else? So you became so pessimistic when you're in that place, right? Until you go in that individuality. Thank you so much. So let's continue here and let's talk about what were some of the challenges you faced in finding the stability to move forward. What challenges you face trying to move forward? We'll start with Debbie.
All right, I'll be glad to. I think some of the biggest challenges was after infertility and after losing the boys was, I still had this deep desire to be a mom and a grandma. And so I had to figure my way. I had exhausted everything that I knew I was capable of doing. And trying to get babies here and stuff like that. And I was mentally exhausted, physically exhausted, spiritually exhausted, emotionally, everything. I was just exhausted, right? And I remember going, you know, I'm not getting younger. Should I try again? And we started down that path again. And I just was like, I can't do this. So I think for me, the big challenge is figuring out where to set the appropriate boundary for me as I learned to walk through what this new normal was going to be like for me. And so being brave to go, I can't do that right now. And I need to have grace with myself, and I need to trust that God He's going to give me children if I'm supposed to have them. And
Right.
I need just time to heal. And so doing the things that I think I needed to put in place, the boundaries and the different things for me to be able to process and heal were, some of the things that kept me from experiencing even more and more challenges as I walk through it. And I just go, you just have to have grace with yourself, right? And so that is, how I could find stability and the ability to even move forward was to have safe people that helped look out for me. And I looked out for me and was willing to stand up for me as I walked through that.
Right. So let's talk about that moment when you held on to that and you didn't want to let it go and God asked you to let it go.
Yeah. So the desire to have children, is that what you're talking about?
No,
Yeah.
when you was holding on to the pain and God
Oh,
asked
yeah.
you to.
Yeah. So he did. He told me that I had to give up my why question, and I like my why question of why me, why God, why now, why, and he just told me very gently that that is a stuck question, and you'll never get the answer that will satisfy, and so you're going to have to give me your question, and you're going to have to trust me with it. And
Give me your why.
yeah, and I was mad. I was like, dude, that's the last thing I got. That is my security blanket. It's the only thing I have to hold on to in this tragedy. And he's like, you need to give it up. I'm like, no, not really, right? And it was the best decision ultimately, but it's very difficult because, we do feel like if we had the answer to why, then we could figure our way through. But the reality is any answer in a tragedy or trauma that we would get for why would never satisfy. It wouldn't bring my boys back. It wouldn't solve my pain. And it is a question that I truly have to open my hands and give to him.
Yeah.
Wow, wow.
Mhm.
And we everyone heard, of course, some of them haven't seen your episode. You talk about the loss, but let's talk about what you gained and what you've turned that into, because now that was your way of moving forward. So you've moved beyond that. So
Mhm.
let them bring them into that part for you, because that was your moving forward where you are today
Sure.
with the children that you do have.
So the question after you give up why, because I'm a question girl. I'm like, okay, God, then what am I supposed to do? Right? How am I supposed to figure my way through this difficult thing? Because it's too painful. And his gentle wooing was, I need you to ask a different question. And the question was, how do I survive? And that included breathing because then my prefrontal cortex get engaged. But then it was, what's my next best step? Not my
Mm-hmm.
next right one, because that might, make me freeze trying to figure out if I'm doing exactly the right thing. But what's my next best step? And so
Mm-hmm.
I just would faithfully figure out whatever it was and I would do it. And God would meet me and he would light the path at my feet. And then I would do it again and he'd light the path at my feet. And that's the healing journey. So what Dr. Linjay is talking about is, ultimately that led me to leading grief groups, working with women that have lost children, led us to looking into adoption. So adopting 9 children with trauma backgrounds over the years,
Mm-hmm.
and then starting a ministry out of it that impacts thousands every year, and then writing a book and speaking and doing all those things. Those have all come out of that pain. So that's been the journey.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. We're going to go to Kellina. What challenges have you faced finding stability or moving forward?
Hi. Okay. So for me, the challenge that I had to go move forward, I would say, is I don't know what's gonna be happening next. And so a lot of time, me being part of the deaf community, I don't know what tomorrow brings into me. Am I going to get shut down? Am I going to have someone that look down at me and say, "Oh, well, you're deaf. Bye." And having that thought at the back of my mind, having to always consistently make advocate for myself and have a voice in the room that I deserve to be in. And so it was not something easy for anybody to learn and how to practice to have that mindset of saying, if that person doesn't want to accommodate me, then I can still become successful. And that's
Mhm.
something I just struggled a lot down the road with, to be uncomfortable in different rooms that I don't
Mhm.
even know how to talk to people. And so it was, moving forward hadn't always been easy, but I had to learn how to trust myself and give myself permission to be okay. And
Yeah.
to give myself permission to be, it's okay to have a bad day, but other days are going to be better. And that's something I had to learn the hard way, was to sit down, reflect what happened, and move forward. And that's
Yes.
a lot of us have a hard time when we went through a trauma, especially the root, to really understand what is it that we're missing? How can we learn from this? What is it teaching us? And for me, that was the biggest challenge I had to learn, was how am I supposed to learn from this experience? What is it teaching me? And and also too, coming from building a great support system. And honestly, I would not be here without my support system, because they are definitely my rock. Without them, I would not be here.
Right.
Um, but yeah, it's very difficult, especially myself coming from a disability community, not just the deaf community as a whole. It some days we just don't have it, and there's some
Right.
days we had it. So yeah.
Mm.
I think we all can relate to some days we got it, some days we don't. Some days we want to get out of bed, some days we don't.
For sure.
I've learned, okay, through the years, I used to push myself through the pain when I knew very well I should have just stayed in bed. But I wanted to show up, I wanted to please people. But here's what Linda does: if I get up today and I say, I don't feel good, I'm staying in my bed, that's what I do. I give myself that grace. And now I'm at a place where I no longer have to work a 9 to 5, I can't deal with that, right? If I decide I want to stay in bed till 10 a.m., I want to stay in bed till 10 a.m. So that's why now I'm doing all that I'm doing because I have my own timetable, right? I work as a health insurance broker for life or health. But guess what? I'm setting those appointments based on my availability. Why? Because what I learned is every one of us has gone through that. Some days good, some days not bad. And the pressures of hurting and dealing with other people. I don't know about you guys. Some days I just don't want to deal with nobody. Like, I don't want to be bothered today. Or I have those days where don't come to me today because I'm a nice person. But today, whoo, don't come today. But thank God, the Holy Spirit always subsided and I never got out of character because, God also works on our emotions. But boy, do we have those days. Sometimes I say, I'm taking a break. I'm going to the bathroom and I stay longer. But listen, as you're going through these times, there are days we feel good, days we don't feel good. All right. So we're going to go now to Candice. We're going to repeat the same question. What challenges have you faced in finding stability or moving forward?
Yeah, so a lot of mine came from learning that I didn't really know what divine surrender meant. We always talk about surrendering and giving things over, but when you've built your life being very super hyper vigilant almost at being independent,
Mm-hmm.
it's really challenging to feel. And I always do this analogy where, oh, I believe that I'm supported to about this degree, and then I feel like I have to do over and beyond to make it
Yeah.
happen. And so in my journey, my struggle was really identifying the areas that I did need to have more surrender and how I could embody that and really allow myself to shift out of this I need to do and I just need to receive, because that was the other thing. Is I was really great at giving outwardly, but taking it in and saying, oh, this is a reciprocal energy exchange. I struggled with that a lot. And so in my journey, I think learning that I didn't need to be perfect at this. That was the other hard truth I had to learn. And B, just understanding what it meant to fully let go and to actually build that trust. And it was a process, and it's still an ever evolving process. I think, like you say, it's like you get really good at doing something and then you do something new and you're like, oh, I got another area of growth. And I think it's because we experience our life in so many different increments of time. So why would we expect ourselves to heal in one setting or one day, one prayer, one meditation, whatever it is for you? And it's like we experience life in minutes, seconds, hours, days, months. So it's okay if it takes time. That was the last part, is understanding that even if it was taking me a little longer, it was all for divine purpose.
Yes. Yes. Well, thank you so much. Listen, divine purpose. If had it not been for the divine, Lord help us. Thank you, Lord.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you for divine promise. Thank you for before your parents came together, before they knew you, before you was a twinkle. Thank you for all of that, because in the midst of all of that, that is what have pulled each of us through, because we realize that there is purpose. And what I realize in life is the enemy will come in to try to dim that light. That's what it's about, to dim that light, to shut it off. But because you are a beacon of light, all right, it can't keep you muffled. It can't keep you closed, because you have to shine, right? Even though you've gone through those experiences. So we're going to go to Keisha now. Same question. What are the challenges you face in finding stability or moving forward?
Okay, amen. Well, I think the biggest challenge that I faced was just accepting me and loving me for me. Dealing with things, traumas that I've been talking about. One of the hardest places is to accept that, first of all, that God loves you in spite of. And then because he loves you, it doesn't matter who else doesn't, but you can still give yourself permission to love yourself. And so that was a hard challenge. I mean, if you're dealing with rejection, the hardest person to love and accept is you.
Mm-hmm.
Because you feel like nobody does, you know? So I think that was the biggest hurdle. But when I got to a place saying, you know what, man, God loves me. He loves me in spite of everything I've done, everything that I've been through, how many times I fell short, you know, it didn't matter. He still loved me. And if he still loved me, then of course I should be able to love myself. And so
Right.
coming to that understanding and that acceptance of me, loving me and forgiving me was, man, that was life changing when I learned how to love me and forgive me, because we can't change our past, but I can sure be better for my future. And so
Indeed.
that was the challenges, but thank God we overcome, right?
Indeed, loving you. I think that was a key, and forgiveness, because that's also a part of the healing, is to forgive yourself, to give yourself grace, to also be patient. Anybody ever been impatient with yourself? Oh my God. I used to have some issues, okay? Be patient with yourself. Allow yourself the same grace, right? Forgive yourself. So before we go to a break, anybody want to piggyback on anything that was said that you might still think that you would want to say at this time?
I actually love what you said about having to love yourself and forgive yourself. And even what you were just saying about, we are loved unconditionally. And that's something I think we struggle with
Hmm.
anyway. But to understand that we can love and appreciate who we are and still aspire to better ourselves and grow and
Yes.
expand, instead of feeling like I can only love myself when I get to that place.
Yes. Indeed. Indeed. Anybody else? We're gonna go to a break, because we're gonna call it a coffee break, because I have a live coffee here. At that time, ladies, you can adjust yourself, sip your tea. You can do it while you're live, actually, because I will not limit you from taking a sip, because you all saw me. I've been fasting, all right? So I'm in a fast. And so all I could do is sip, and I've been sipping here for this journey into my new year. So here we go for our commercial, and we'll be right back, everyone.
Remember when coffee was just coffee? A routine sip, part of the 2 billion cups consumed daily, enough to fill an Olympic swimming pool every 3 minutes. Same old flavor, same old routine. For centuries, 75% of coffee drinkers have settled for mediocrity, masking the taste with sugar, syrups, and overpriced add-ons. But what if coffee didn't just promise to be amazing? What if it actually was? Introducing Alive Coffee, the first coffee that tastes as good as it makes you feel. Meet the coffee that thinks beyond the cup. Bold, smooth, alive. Made from expertly roasted top-quality beans, Alive Coffee is smooth, rich, and shockingly delicious. Stop drinking May, start drinking Alive. The coffee that delivers, just like the 90% who won't start their day without it. Alive Coffee. Wake up, take over. Feel alive.
Yes, indeed. That coffee is great. It is a natural product. The coconut is the milk, and you don't need sugar. It has pomegranate, etc. I drink it. It's actually healthy, and you can get it through me, which is Lynn J Global. Envision You, Lynn J Global is right on the bottom, everyone. So I'm also an entrepreneur, all right? Because we have to have those residuals and everywhere. It also gives you sell it, you make money, you get paid every week. I love anything that's gonna pay me back. Who don't? So we're gonna dive right back into our questions, okay, ladies? So we are back. And our next question here is: are there times when setbacks have made you question your path or choices? Come on now. Have there been times when setbacks, whoever not them, made you question your path or choices? We're gonna start at the bottom. We'll start with Keisha.
It's so funny, this question. Man, yes, there's been times. There's been a whole lot of times, many times that
Good.
have questioned. As I said, I'm in full-time ministry, and I can't speak for anybody else, but ministry is one of the hardest assignments I think that I have tried to walk out. It's been harder than having a real estate company. It's been harder than any business or raising children. Like it's been that challenge, because you have to love people where
Yes.
they are in spite of. and we try to do it the way that Christ did for us, right?
Yeah.
Unconditional. So I say, I believe that we should be required to have some type of psychology, something class in dealing with
Definitely.
so many different personalities, right? And there's definitely been a number of times dealing with ministry that I felt like, man, I questioned my call. I don't measure up. Like, God, have to be missing this because we're not perfect. We're not perfect leaders. I don't care if we get a title. We got people, thousands of people following. Still not perfect. And I think sometimes in doing ministry, we don't leave room for ourselves to fall
Hmm.
short, and the people that are following us don't leave room for us to fall short either. So
Right.
we feel that the mark, it is a heavier burden because we understand that I'm not only responsible for myself, but I'm also responsible for the other people that are watching me. And so
Yes.
there's been many times where I question, the call and say, okay, God, did I miss it? Did I miss it in what I told them, or the counsel that I gave, or direction? Did I miss it in my teaching? Because I teach a little bit off the edge. So have I taught any erroneous doctrine? You know what I'm saying? And so I think I'm the biggest critic in that area because so many people can be affected, and we're not just talking about affecting the way that they live their life here, but we're affecting how they may dwell in eternity. So
Right.
yeah, it's been a challenge in ministry, you know, seeing myself as the Father sees me, but also accepting myself as being imperfect yet being a servant at the same time.
Right. Well, you touch on something that is big because, believe it or not, people are obstacles. People can be barriers. All right. That's what we're dealing with, right? Our whole thing of trying to fit in is because of folks, right? Our families, our community. And you touched something really great because I have pastoral psychology. But before I did pastoral psychology, I remember my husband was going through ministry and he was doing his psychology. And there's a book by Tim LaHaye that talks about the transform, all right, temperaments. And even though I've gone through pastoral psychology, I'm glad I read that book, right? Because you learn different temperaments, right? You have to be able to discern. We are all not the same, but once you understand people's temperaments, and you also understand when Jesus said, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do, all right? Because he had to deal with all of these different emotions. So some of these obstacles and setbacks are folks. We can't lie. It's the people. It's the circle that you're in. And we use a cliche all the time that says there are certain places that you have to go. You can't take certain people. You got to leave them behind. It also starts with you. The old you that was caught up in all that toxic place, you have to cleanse from in order to move forward, or else you won't be able to move forward. All right. So I'm going to go now to Candice and we're going to go up and around. So, Candice, the same question. Are there times when setbacks have made you question your path or choices?
Oh, yeah. I think anybody that's in the entrepreneurial space can attest to this year one through business. I think that's one of the underrated conversations that we have is the
Yes.
struggle in the beginning of building a business, and you're sitting there, and I remember sitting there just asking, I was like, okay, I know you want me to do this. You
Right.
want me to do this work, but like, can it be easier? Because I'm tired. I am tired of so much. And it was funny because it was right after that conversation that I realized it was me not doing certain things. Like I didn't have a certain offering that offered people to work with me longer. And it was like
Right.
these, I was able to open and see and have more vision and see, okay, clearly I have a couple of pillars that I need to instill so that I can expand. And then it
Right.
was like from there, everything opened up and it became more of a confirmation over and over again.
Hmm.
But again, like when you're in the beginning of building anything, whether that's a relationship, a new partnership in business or a business yourself, it's just the time that it takes to grow. And I think if we remember, I use this analogy all the time. So you know how in gardening, and do not ask me how to do that. I am not done. Love helping my grandmother and hers. But anyways, you can plant the same seeds in the same row and they will each grow at different paces with
Indeed.
different nourishment, with different outcomes. And
Indeed.
so every single plant that's seeded has its own time to come to fruition. And so
Yes.
when you can slow down and remember that, it makes the pace not as important. It's like, oh, but I
Mhm.
planted the seed and I'm doing the work and I'm moving forward. That was one of the biggest lessons that I learned in like seeing things. I was like, oh, okay, I've been planting these seeds and they're kind of coming together at different paces, and that's how it's supposed to be.
Right.
So, yeah.
Wow. Indeed. Don't talk about that because, like they say, and I say this a lot also, even with children, right? You can have, like me, I have six children, right? My youngest is 18. My oldest is going to be 31, right? So they range 4 years apart, 3 years apart, 2 years apart, and then the closest one, a year and a half. They all have their own temperament. We all raise them the same, but like their plant analogy, all right, they are all having different perspectives. They have their own temperaments and their emotions. All right. And this is what we carry with everything that we do. You can have friends, you have family members, everyone is different, yet we're eating the same food, right? We're doing everything the same, but there is these different temperaments. So the choices when it comes to, is this the right choice? Am I in the right path? Because in the beginning, I'm glad you realized there were certain things that you didn't have. It wasn't that it wasn't coming together, but there were certain provisions that you needed to have in place to have it tie in. There are those who's going to believe you just because you said yes. But once they believe you and they show up, what then? So we have to continue to have that. And if you have a product, the next thing is have a product and don't believe in the product. How can you sell it? Right?
Right.
So even though they said there are those who can sell glasses to a blind man, all right, but you need to be able to have the verbiage, so there are certain setbacks. So we're going to go to Kellina. Same thing, Kellina. What were the setbacks for you whether you questioned your path or choices?
Oh my God. I question my path every single day to this day. I really do. Like, I mean, being rejected over and over and over while growing
Mm-hmm.
up. I don't mind telling people how old I am. I'm literally 28 years old, and I started this business when I was 22. And
Mm-hmm.
I always question myself, is anybody going to take me serious? Is anybody going to look at me as my disability, or they're going to look at me as my age? Like, I didn't
Right.
know what's going to happen to me. And so, and a lot of people are not very educated about the deaf community, especially communication style. Not everybody is. And so, again, being rejected over and over and over. If I can only get $1 every time I get rejected, I will be a
Wow.
loser right now,
Wow.
right? And so every time I question myself, I always remind myself my why. I have a big, huge, strong why. I don't mind sharing with people in here. Is I lost very, 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 very two important people who actually made me who I am today. I lost
Mm-hmm.
my grandmother and I lost my godmother.
Wow.
And so they are the ones that technically raised me and they helped me and guided me through this thing that I was going through when I was younger.
Mm-hmm.
And so I always tell myself the reason why I start. Why am I starting this journey? And I feel like if you have a strong why and a strong mindset and a strong community, you are able to become successful in anything
Yeah.
you do in life, whether it's business or personal life. And so that's why I always question myself, who am I doing this for? Am I doing this for the younger generation to let them know that do not allow anybody to define who you are, whether you're disabled or not? And
Mm-hmm.
and it doesn't matter. And so yeah, I always question myself, absolutely. Honestly, I tell you guys, I could get $1 every single day for rejection. I would be a millionaire. So
Mm-hmm.
but I never
Wow.
allow that to define who I am, right? And you should never allow anybody to define who you are.
Indeed. The biggest enemy is the inner me, right? Anything that we face. I don't know if anyone has gotten to that place. I am going on 9 years since I had my women's organization. It took me literally 7 years to get it on the ground because I was like, Why me? Like, I'm not ready. I was still in my healing. I hadn't completely healed. So I started saying, well, what do you have to give? Like, what are they coming for? Like, what are you empowering on? Like, you're your worst enemy, okay? And you're looking at all of these things as to why people should not take you seriously or want the product that you have. Or the product was me. It was my story, right? Which meant I was ashamed of my story. I was secretive about my story. But once I told my story, okay, even in the beginning, I would like, why are you saying that? My husband said that to me. I'm tired of you sharing this, because whenever I shared it, I guess to him, it made him feel bad that I went through this experience and people were looking at him in a certain way. And so I would hold back for my story or I would tell it on certain times. And it took a long time to finally tell my story without choking up, right? You start talking like, so I couldn't even do that, right? And so I understand what you said as far as fitting in because it was always rejection. No, you can't. Even when I started it, I put it on, it was just the awareness meeting. The Holy Spirit said, just put awareness meeting. I had my website up. I had everything up without the people. Because he said build it. So I built it. Right. I put it on Eventbrite. Like I'm having this big event. It was just an awareness meeting. I created my brochures, everything through Vistaprint, you name it. I became a pro at getting everything done, but I was still doubting me. How many people gonna come? How many people show up? Took 7 years to get there. Now that I'm here, right? And I remember, 'cause I'm telling you, it's people, friends, people who's supposed to be your support. Um, why did you put that on there? It's just awareness meeting. You should not have put it on Eventbrite. You'll be lucky if you get 5 people. That this friend said to me, and it hurt me so bad. Like I just finally made the decision after 7 years, and now you're gonna throw this at me, right? And it hurt so much. All right. And it took me maybe 2 or 3 years before I could go back to this person and say, hey, here's what you said, and it hurt then. To this day, in the 9 years, this person has never even come to one of my workshops. Okay? Supported. They have a radio, supported. They have other people who are hardly doing anything that they bring on. So we have to realize that the paths and the choices we make, everyone is not going to be on board. It starts from your family, your friends. But you have to believe that you're in the right path. All things are going to come and make you question. I had a lot. That was just one scenario. But let me tell you what happened. I pulled down the Eventbrite because I was so hurt and upset. But there was already people who had booked it, right? They already booked it. And there was a gentleman today. He's not alive today, but I pulled him that day to be one of my panel of speakers. And I was broken and I said, I'm going to cancel. I'm going to cancel it. At that time, it looked like only 5 people, literally, that was on my Eventbrite that I'd registered. So his numbers was like realistic in my head. And he said, where there is vision, there is provision. I'm telling this story probably for the first time online. And that day I was driving, I live in Broward County. So I drove from Pompano Beach to Hialeah. I was so blinded, so hurt. My car light, my gas light was on empty. I couldn't even see it. Anybody ever been in a place where you blind, you dumb, you deaf, you numb? I was having all of those feelings at one time. My phone was ringing. I couldn't hear my phone ring. And he was the only person, for some reason, I called him to say I'm canceling. And I was telling him my why. Let's go. I'm going to come to you with your why there. Okay. My why and hurting. And he says, no, don't cancel. Even if 5 people showed up, it is a success. Right. And then my phone died. Right after my phone died, my car died.
Oh, gosh.
I didn't have a car charger. I was on one of the busiest expressways in Florida, which is I-75. At the time, it was under construction. And I was in the far left lane. So I'm not crossing that highway anytime soon.
Right.
I was stuck there for 5. Let's go back to the number 5. He said 5 5 hours. The last thing I said to my husband is my car died. And then my phone cut off. I said, my phone, I was telling them my car, the gas had shut off and where I was. And then it died. 5 hours I stayed there. My event was the next day. God had to remove me from the noise, from the people, from everything. Because even though my last word was don't cancel, I had to go into Linda, okay, to say, yes, this is the right choice. Yes, even if 5 people only show up, this is going to happen. Got to work late, stayed there for maybe 2 hours. No, actually, I didn't even get to work. Now I remember. My husband eventually picked me up because he had a family member who had passed away. So he had to get the kids from after school, all of that. And then I came off. It was late. And I came off the highway to get to a gas station to tell them where I was. They showed up like 30 minutes later. I was so upset. I'm shouting at him like, I told you where I was and you didn't show up and yada, yada, yada. Instead of being relieved and thank you, I was going through all of it. Why? Because I had not yet expressed anything. Okay? I had not yet expressed anything. And then I looked at the kids because I've never shouted before, and I'm apologizing to everybody. I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. You don't know how it was to be stuck here. The roadside troopers came and said I have to wait for roadside assistance. Roadside assistance never came, guys. Okay. And then when I'm at the gas station looking on the highway, I see them pull up behind my car. After I'm no longer at the car, like, what? You know? So anyway, we went to the gas station, put gas in my car, and we were able to continue on that journey and be there for this family member. The next day was my meeting. I did not cancel, but I didn't put my Eventbrite back up. Through those emails, I just let everybody know it was happening. Guess what? You know how many people showed up for my awareness meeting? 89.
Amazing.
89 people showed up. Why? Because I was trapped into me. I was thinking I was on the wrong path. This was not the right choice. And then someone come and tell me, no, why did you do all of that? And this is just an awareness meeting. But that's the way God wanted me to do it. 89 people showed up. And of the 89, only 12 of them were people that I knew. They were from different organizations. So yes, you have to build it. All right. So were there times that was just one of my setbacks? Y'all don't want to know the journey. In the 9 years, I'm gonna talk about the choice. I've had one time I was doing a tea party. I'm telling you about setbacks. I was doing a tea party and I had tickets. I had paid over like $1,500 for just decor, rented a space. You know how many people showed up? 10. And I was hurt. Like, how am I gonna get this money? But the 10 people who were there were the 10 people who needed to be there, and it made sure that everything worked out. So if we're looking for the crowds, I am not afraid to do a workshop with 2 people. I'm not afraid for 10 because somebody told me I'll be lucky if I got 5. I took my numbers down. If one person show up, I've succeeded. That's what we need to do when it comes to those moments. So we're gonna go to you now. Debbie, I mean, I said a lot because for some reason, after Kellina spoke, it just reminded me of the people that is around us that can always be a barrier, and we have to get beyond ourselves. So, Debbie, the same question. I said a lot. Are there times when setbacks have made you question your path or choices?
Well, I would say I probably agree with everyone that yes, we have those things. So nobody gets to skip that process. But I would say one thing that I think might be helpful for all of us is I think it's very important that we remember that we perform for an audience of one.
Yes.
And if we do exactly what God has called us to do, whether it fails or succeeds in the eyes of man, your daddy God smiles. And that is so freeing to know that I am not trying to perform to whatever the world is expecting of me. And whether I have 5 or 10 or 100 or 500 people or raise millions of dollars, it does not matter as long as I am being obedient. So for me, one of the really interesting ways that sometimes I face feedbacks is I am a CEO of a rather large nonprofit, and you think you're doing the right things, you think you're moving along the path, and you're trying to do the best by employees, you're trying to do everything, and we had an employee that we had to let go. And it just was not a good fit. And we had tried everything that we could. And
Mm-hmm.
within she had up to 9 months to file a lawsuit. And I'll be darned if we didn't get right to 9 months and she filed a lawsuit.
Wow.
So I got subpoenaed, which was really kind of fun that day because I was like, I went into my why question. Why
Mm-hmm.
me? Why this? Why that? I did everything right. And I was like, this is not going to take me anywhere good. So I captured that and I was like, okay, how do I survive this? Right. And I was like, well, what should I do? And I'm thinking, and I went, I really should probably call the attorney. And that's probably a great next step, right? And so I
Mm-hmm.
called the attorney and got, what we have to remember, what I try and remember is that people are watching us when we face these
Yes.
setbacks and they're watching how I move through that. And as a leader, do I exhibit the fruits of the spirit? Am I graceful as I walk through this? Do I hold bitterness? Do I do any of those things? Or am I having fruits of the spirit flow out of me? So like when I'm squeezed, does Jesus come out, right? And is my staff learns by watching me walk through these things well.
Mm-hmm.
And God is faithful to answer that question is, how do we survive? And then ultimately, how do we thrive in this
Right.
situation? So, and then the other scenario that I see it in all the time, so I have lots from my personal life, but we do therapeutic camps for families who are struggling with their children.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times they bring their kid to camp. It's a family camp. They bring their kids to camp because they want us to fix their kids, which
Right.
their kids do have trauma backgrounds and we do have to work with them and everything. But really, truly, the parents are required to come to camp
Mm-hmm.
and they go into a different training. And I can promise you that every year at camp, it's the parents who have to grow the most. And the reason that is because their expectations or their desires with this kid, whether adopted or biological, are not working the way that they want them to.
Right. Right.
What I always find is that for these parents, is that they haven't done the hard work of their healing. And so it's getting in the way. So
Mm-hmm.
they cannot lead their children through the
Right.
healing process that they need to go through unless the parent is willing to do it themselves. So the parents, you find yourself in a setback situation because God has allowed you to have these wonderful children and it's not and your expectations aren't the same and you're trying to figure out how to realign and so it just disrupts your apple cart and you're trying to figure your way, right?
Right.
And so I think those are some of the most common ways that I see setbacks in my own life but also through ministry and different ventures that I find myself in.
Right. And I'm sure everyone like I did have many scenarios where you felt like, did I make the right decision? Because choices, right? And in
Mhm.
the beginning you're going to question that. What I learned, and I say this all the time, is I don't serve two masters. So that means if God has said something, I need to know that's what he said. Now I need to get out of my own head, okay, and allow it to happen and come in agreement to that. What I'm learning on my time here on life, because I'm already halfway in this lifespan, praise God, all right, is that we have to trust God. If he said it, it will happen. If it was prophesied on your life, wait for it to happen. You understand? Sometimes we just become impatient. We want it like I love to say this all the time, like the JJ Wentworth commercial. It's my money and I want it now. So we want everything now. We live in a microwave society. We want things right away. We don't have the patience to wait. We want the residuals right away, even though it takes time to build. To build a book of business, especially as a broker, I have to take time to build. It takes client. I'm going to start off with 0. Okay. And then go to 10 and keep building. But if I give up, then in 5 years, I wouldn't have anything. So that's the whole thing is we need to be patient and understand, that yes, be patient. Yes, you're on the right track. You didn't just dream this thing. All right. God put that into you. You are very intuitive. Okay. He's put it into you and rely on that. Okay. I've had to learn to, what I have is not for everyone. Right. I could take this podcast, for example. 95% of the people that have come on my podcast are not people that I've ever met before.
Hmm.
You ladies on here have never met before. So if I was waiting for my circle, hello, in my circle, maybe five, there goes that number again, 5 people in 18 months that have been on my podcast. So we also have to realize what God has given you, it's for the world. See, I see myself as global. I don't see myself as local because he's pulling people from everywhere from the moment I start anything that I do and beyond. It's not about where I am, not my church. I'm community, right? I'm also a pastor chaplain. So I cannot think only, oh, my church, Unity International Ministries. No, it goes beyond, right? So again, healing. We had to go through these healings to be empathetic, to be sympathetic, to embrace, to be kind, okay, and understanding. So we're going to come down to our last question. We're going to start from the bottom with Keisha and come back around. What steps have been important in starting to rebuild your life?
What steps have been important in starting to rebuild my life? Man, I say being intentional to work on me. You know, anybody, whether I agree, the only person that and if I change the one thing that I realize is I can change anybody, no one but myself. So the more that I work on myself, then I,
So,
okay. Um, one thing that I uh, stop, please. Awesome. So, the major step that I took in order to rebuild and to refocus, I would say, was to start looking at me in the mirror. You know, it's easy to point the finger and look at other people and address the wrongs of other people or shortcomings. But the hardest thing is for us to do is to look at the mirror, look in the mirror at ourselves and say, okay, God, now I see this. Now, what do I do with this? How do I change this? How do I heal from this? How do I grow from this? And so I think one of the biggest things that have been most effective to me is not to, accuse or make accusations or point fingers at anybody else except for me. And the more with me, the more that I allow God to examine, show me those areas that I still need working in, then I'm more effective with everybody else because I'm the only person that I can change.
all right. Thank you so much. We'll go over to Candice.
Yeah, a lot of the steps for me has been recalibration. This has been a word I've been using a whole lot lately, is that it's real easy to get into a routine or a flow and feel like everything's kind of going okay. And then you start to, add things on or do more. And there's always this need to recalibrate. Am I checking in with myself? Am I giving myself breaks? Like you had mentioned earlier, like if I need to sleep in until 10 a.m., I'm doing it. I don't do that yet, but there are these periods where we do just have to really check back in with ourselves. And so I would say, through having consistent practices in my day, of course, but then it is really that recalibration and recognition that things, will come up and they will happen. And we just have to kind of adjust sometimes. So.
Thank you so much. Kellina?
For me, I would say to rebuild your life. I'm still young, but based on I guess my experience working with older women and anybody in general, I learned it that always remember to celebrate your small wins, no matter what.
Yes.
And I feel like a lot of us overlooked by celebrating it. And I feel like
Mhm.
the only way to grow is to understand what you accomplished already. And
Yes.
to rebuild that lifestyle you want, you can look back and say, you know what, I can graduate from this degree. I can actually go and do that. And also as well, one of the biggest things for me is always choosing yourself every single day. No matter what anything throws at you, always choose yourself every single day. And I know a lot of us, are moms, grandparents, looking after our children, but sometimes we tend to forget that we also come first at the end of the day. And so, yeah.
That is key. That is key. All right. We're going to go now to Debbie.
Yes. Okay. So for me, I go back to something you already heard me say already, but it's just 3 questions. Give up my why, trust that to God. Ask, how do I survive? And figure out that next best step. And then ultimately, how do I thrive? And I see that play out over and over and over. It doesn't matter whether it's work, whether it's children, whether it's spouse, whether it's me. Those are the things that God just continually challenges me to ask those questions and give up that why.
Wow. So definitely been a wonderful session. So before we close out, I would like for each and every one of you to speak to an individual that is watching. I like what Kellina said, that you matter. I didn't start to see that for myself until I was 35 years old. So, girl, you're in the right spot, okay? To realize that, because I got married by 18, had my first daughter by 19, finished my associate by 20, then guess, was doing life, okay? So it was always, I'm a firstborn, so I've always cared for everyone else, right? That's a trait firstborns have. And so I was always caring about everybody else but myself. So truly, when I start to heal for Linda, that was 35 years old. And guess what? That was when my journey to healing started, because I was no longer engrossed by everybody's needs and I forgot about me. I realized I was living a shadow of myself. And now I had to face me. And that's when my journey to healing truly began. And yes, I became selfish. No, I started saying no, because I needed boundaries. And I used to feel bad about saying no or not doing something because I was always the yes one. Yes, yes, yes. Okay. So yes, creating boundaries, like Kellina said, is crucial. My third child is 26 years old. She's your age. All right. And she is so free. She is a spring child. And I'm glad. Here's what happened. I want everybody to realize this. Once you will heal, everybody around you benefits. All right. It benefits them. It gives my children more independence. It gives my girls, they just evolved. So as a parent, you are very weighty on your children. You are weighty in the relationship, even though it's like, what did I do? You did, because you didn't allow yourself to heal. You put that weight. All right. Unfortunately, some relationships end up in divorce. I could have been divorced 3 times over. Thanks be to God. I can say faith. All right. My husband is a minister. We have our own ministry, but it wasn't because of ministry that kept us from getting a divorce. It was because of our faith and belief in God, right? He was broken. I was broken. We both needed to heal. And as I started to heal, he thought it was somebody else that came in the house, right? Because I woke up. Okay. So what is that last word that you would like to say, a message you would like to give to a young person, someone at your age, someone that's going through whatever is in your heart? Please share. And we're not going to go in any order, because someone might be ready to go and then another might want to ponder a little bit.
I think it's just the one thing I would share is it's never too late to be who you might have been. That's one of my favorite quotes. And that all things do truly come together for greater good, right? They always come together. And even if you're not proud of your journey, I too was a young mother. I had my first child at 18. I turned 19 2 months after she was born and had 3 kids by the time I was 21. So I, like, while my path is not all of it are moments filled with these, I would say, milestones of joy, right? Like, I wasn't happy that I had depression or that I struggled in certain areas, but once you can own that story, then it's truly never too late to evolve, to be different. And
Yeah.
so even if you're not proud of your journey, you still have choice today to make something happen and make a change. And it does come back to knowing that sense of value, that sense of worth, that sense of honoring yourself each and every moment as you can. And
Yes.
don't be afraid. You don't have to do it alone. That's the other thing, is like, we're not designed to do this alone. So
Yes. Indeed. 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 Anyone chime in?
I
Um,
would go ahead. Go
I
ahead.
I was gonna say, I always leave this with a lot of people. I always tell people, imagine if God came into your dream and He told you you have 6 months to live. What would you be doing within that 6 months? Think about it. Life is too short. You never know when time is coming. And I always tell people, think about where you want to be in the next 6 months, because you never know what tomorrow brings you, and tomorrow is not a promise. You do have to live life to the fullest, no matter what happens.
From the mouth of babes.
I would say for me, I would go, if you are watching this and you're struggling, then what I want you to know is that there is hope and that there is a brighter tomorrow.
Mhm.
But it's because you learn to make a choice for you and you learn to trust God. And each day, Daddy God smiles at you. He is not like looking at you and wishing you, like wanting to write you off. He's going, I got you. And we just need to trust. And so I would encourage you today to begin to trust Him in a way that maybe you've never done before, by just going, I need you. Help me. Show me what's the next step, and let's figure this out. And He will be faithful to answer you.
Thank you. Thank you.
I was really trying not to be last, but she started before. You know, I guess my word of wisdom would be, it's not over till God says it's over. And don't lose heart in that. Don't give up on you. You listen, like you said earlier, we can be our biggest enemy. But when we totally heal and allow that process of life to take place, we can also be our greatest encourager. Like, I have a life where it doesn't matter who is for me, who's against me, as long as God is for me, who cares? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like you said, Dr. Linda, it's like you said, like, there are times where I give myself the grace to be able to say, you know what? There's nobody in this moment right now more important to me than me. So I'm going
Yeah.
to moment, because I learned how to love me through the process
Hmm.
from not loving me, you know? So just embrace the process. Every day that we have is another day to get it right, to be better, to be greater, to go farther. And just embrace the process and learn how to love you the way that God already loves us, you know?
Hmm.
And so that would probably be my word of encouragement. That, listen, stay encouraged. God's not through with us yet. And as long as we're here, we have another day on this side of eternity to get it right and greater. So, yeah, thank you.
Wow, this has been a wonderful, wonderful segment. All of the segments are great. Ladies and our viewers, go and watch part one, session two, session three, session four. All right, five and six. And we're going to go all the way to eighth, closing out the last Tuesday in September. But the Tuesday in September 16, that is my birthday. That is my launch day. That is my everything day. So I want everybody to come on to the live and just shout and celebrate because something big is about to be released. I'm not even gonna say it yet. So I'm leaving it for that day. All right. So this is what this whole thing is. Shemergence. I am she, you through a she, and he emergence, because we do have the men on the platform as well. You have emerged. And we want to thank each and every one of you where you're connected from your home, from your workplace, that took the time to come onto this platform. I honor you. I consider it a privilege to have you here. And I look forward to Kellina's story, and Keisha will be on one on one. And of course, Debbie and Candice, they'll be on because we always have things to come back on the show for. All right. I like to visit in 6 months or in a year. You know, there's always topics that might you want to talk about. So the platform is not a one hit or one time thing. But I'm also telling everyone that is watching, get on the Emerge and Empower magazine. All right. Get into the magazine. Get in. It's a digital magazine, but we have print capacity right now. So you can order as many as you want from home without going to the big printers. All right. So that's one of the big news that's out there, so you can get it. But again, everyone watching that is on here, we will have your bios. We want to have an area in the magazine to portray your beautiful your story, to thank you for being a part of the She Mergence experience. So I want those beautiful pictures. I want your bio, whatever you want to share, to be in the magazine, because this gonna be a thick one. This gonna be a thick one. All right. But it's going to be great. It's going to be wonderful. And I want to, that's my way of thanking you. All right. To give you this back and to just spotlight you in your work and what you're doing in the community. Thank you so much, ladies, for being on Emergent and Power today, a part of the Shemergence Virtual Conference 2025. Thank you, everyone. And okay, I got to pray. I'm not going to let this go without praying and blessing you further. Father, in the name of Jesus, I thank you. I thank you once again for this platform and this opportunity, the vessels that have come on, that have poured, that have shared, and Heavenly Father, that is throwing a lifeline to those who needed to hear that word, those who needed to be inspired, those who needed to be empowered, those who felt like they were stuck, those who felt like they were on the wrong path or made the wrong choice. No, they're not. You just have to push through. And I'm asking you to touch Debbie's life, to touch Kellina's life, to touch Keisha's life, to touch Candice's life, and all the other areas in their life where they need a touch from you, whether it's a loved one, whether it's themselves, through healing, through finances, Father. Leave no stone left unturned in their lives, oh God, and that you could get glory out of all of this, and they will have testimonies to share. In Christ Jesus' name I pray. Amen, amen, amen. Thank you, everyone. Bye bye. We got to go because you got to come back to watch us next week. So thank you. Bye,
Bye.
everyone. All right, all right, all right. So as you can see, this is the Emerge and Empower banner that we have the postcard. On the postcard, we are showing you that we have the part that shows that we also have Creole segments. Nap chache moun ki pale Creole, ki kapab vini sou sen nan pou kapab pataje histwa. So we're looking for people that speak Creole to come on our Saturdays to share. And also, this was the magazine from last year. The magazine and the podcast launch at the same time last year, January. And so this is all the magazines from last year. And we are now in August. And you've seen the August magazine, how it's very, very beautiful. For those who've watched, if you haven't already, go to emergeandempowermagazine.com. Emergeandempowermagazine.com, and you'll be able to see all of our issues in our magazines. For the podcast, go to our podcast website, which is emergeandempowertv.com. Emergeandempowertv.com. So this is what we would like to thank you for being a part of this platform. If you have a business, a story that you'd like to share, you are welcome to come on this platform and share. This has been a wonderful segment, and we have two more segments to go. So we are thanking you for your feedback and your yes to come onto this platform. Now, the big news, the big news, the big news. I am bringing you here, and the news is about pre-ordering. Order Unholy at the Table. Pre-order. This is a gift that I'm giving. You're getting it for $14.99 if you order now. While the prices are good, this is still the pre-order price. All right, as you celebrate with me, you celebrate my birthday with You're still celebrating my birthday with me. So this is the celebration. Celebrate, celebrate, celebrate. All right, unholy at the table. Those who've already gotten their copies are like, this is a tearjerker. They're like, you understand me. You understand me. All right, this was me going through my journey and having individuals come on this podcast as we talk about the journey before the seat, right? And that's what Unholy at the Table is about, the journey before the seat. So I encourage each and every one of you to get it. Unholy at the Table, Unworthy, Uninvited Yet Called, right? This is my ninth book, but the third in the Shemergence series. All right. Book one was Shemergence, I Am She. Book two is Shemergence Shift, and now we have Unholy at the Table. Now, this book is continuing, and we're going to have a workbook, a study guide that you can use in seminaries. You can use it for your message. You can use it however you want, but it would continue to help you understand the journey of communion and its relationship as we always go and commemorate the power of the cross and the Last Supper, but we're going to bring that in new light. But read this to get what my experience was and how I have grown. All right, definitely have grown, thanks be to God, dealing with spiritual hurt. All right, spiritual hurt. Yes, we have. So this is it. Still beautiful. Yes, we thank God. You don't see my scars. He has healed me. All right, as you can see, this is not just a book, it's an experience. All right. Unholy at the Table takes you on a transformative journey of my emotional truth, spiritual healing, and divine restoration with raw personal narratives, and I also add biblical reflection in it. This book challenges you to face your pain, confront your voice, and invite you to take your seat, not in shame, but in grace. All right? In grace, not in shame, but in grace. Praise God for Pastor Linda. Praise God. All right, these are what I do. All right, and all of it is under the voice of WeWa, which is Women Inspiring Women Always. So I want to thank each and every one of you who have been a part of this Shemergence, who said yes. Some of you were already locked into your seat, but life happened and you could not continue. Some of you found another spot and were able to come in. But again, we will continue to share. This platform is to share. And thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. It's September and it's my birthday month, and I'm celebrating all month long, right? Turn it up, turn it up, turn it up. I'm celebrating all month long. So for the rest of this month, the book will stay in the pre-order price. All right. So literally, you're getting $5 off if you get it this month, and then it'll go back to the regular price. This is my gift to you. I am not writing to make money and coins on people, because Lord knows from my very first book, I have not put in that money that I've put out. That first book went into Spanish and French translation. That first book also pulled out an affirmation journal and a prayer journal. So within 1 year, I pulled out all of that from that first project. So no, it's not about the coins and the money, but I know that there will be a book that will sell thousands and thousands of thousands. And you're not going to be selfish. You're going to share. You're going to say, get your copy, get your copy. All right, get a copy. Invite Dr. Lynn J to come out and speak at your platforms, okay? Because my major topics, now I speak on all topics, what you give to me. I'm also a pastor, speaker, motivational speaker, but my signature topics are those on life after trauma, which is the podcast, Emerge and Empower, healing from childhood hurt, church hurt. These are what's in the book. Purpose filled womanhood, family fate, building a legacy. All right. Getting on the front row. The list goes on. All right. The list goes on. This is kind of cut off here. I just created it. So it's cut off, but I will share it online as well. I am celebrating. I am thankful to God for saving my life at 6 years old when I was left for dead. And I have a voice and I can share. I am no longer a slave to my past. I am no longer captive by it. All right. So the you who think you know me, those were layers of me that were being stripped. And healing is ugly. Okay. Healing is ugly. Healing is not beautiful. I had to go to some ugly places. All right. In my healing journey to realize that I was deserving to not let people manipulate me. All right. Spiritual hurt, hurt from spiritual leaders, hurt from parents, family. All right. And then people have a stigma. They keep talking about you, saying things about you, things that people said, and they keep bringing it out. Unity International Ministries is a church that building leaders. We are not building members at Unity. We're building leaders. And everyone that has ever come to the ministry, all right, are now working in a ministry somewhere, because what we do is build leaders for tomorrow. We're not afraid of your age, but we believe that God is calling us all to work. And it is because of all the experiences that I have had that I can bring back and pour back into my community to bring healing, all right, to individuals. So I thank God for his grace and his mercy. I thank God for bringing me forward. I thank God for my life. I thank God for my journey. It was not always beautiful, it was not always nice. All right. But one thing people can't say about me is I've always been truthful and I've always been transparent. I don't run with lies, I tell truths. All right. My truths. And so people who have come on this platform, that's the same thing that they did. I found truth seekers, truth speakers, and they come and they share that journey with each and every one of you. Truth, my truth. So if you want to ever know anything about me, call me, ask me. I have no place of shame. God has healed me in every area of my life. And he saved me at 6 years old, where I was left for dead after being raped, all right, by someone whom my mom was renting from, okay? And then that didn't stop. I went from that on to age 8 of being molested almost every day, coming from one house, going to another home, okay? I was still hurting. I went through years of silence in my pain. And because of the silence, I was 35 years old when I was triggered. I was in a good place, already married, have kids, have ministry, everything. I was triggered. I went to a place that was low. And I was like, God, why am I here? Why am I here? Because I never healed. And everything that was around me, okay, wasn't allowing me to heal. So I had to forget church folks, forget people. and take this journey alone. And as I went through that journey, I had to turn off the noise. It almost destroyed my marriage. But I had to find me. I had to go to some ugly places to be healed. I had to go there. But today I live to tell my story. So you want to know my truth? Ask me. You want to know something about me? Ask me. Amen. Just ask the question. I will tell you. All right. I will tell you. There's no secrets. People use shame. They even come and attack my family, my children. Okay. Your mom did this. Your mom did that. Don't use me for your foolishness. Don't use me for your foolishness. Don't use me for your ugliness. I never use people in my ugly. I went through my ugly alone. I've never aired anything on social media. I went through that alone. All right? And when I had to face my truth, I faced my truth head on and never hide behind it. I don't hide behind lies. I tell truths. I might have moments of silence where I haven't shared, but I've always told my truth. So don't use my truth against anybody that's near me. Do not use my truth against my children. Do not use my truth against my ministry or anyone that is in contact with me. Do not use my truths. This platform is one of truth. And if you have a story to tell, come on, Emerge and Empower and share your story. Because people are truly hurting out there. And hurt people hurt people. Stop hurting people and heal. Be transparent in your truth. Own up to what you do. Own up to what you do. And I thank God because He's given me beauty for ashes. So Shemergence Virtual Conference is a story. Individuals come on and they share their story. Do not use anything on here to attack, belittle, or make anyone small. They were once there. They are no longer there. They have moved. And if you want to ask them a question, go and ask them. This is not a place of negativity, but only of positivity. So I pray you emerge. He merge, she merge. It's time to emerge and come away from that hurt place. Because hurt people, all you do is hurt people. All right? And if you're bleeding, get it taken care of. If you need stitches, get it taken care of. If you need surgery, get it taken care of. It's time to emerge. So this platform is a gift that I give. I've dedicated my life to this. I'm not getting paid for this. There's no monetization here. But if people want to donate, they can donate. I will not stop them because I have a cause that's greater than this. And that's you. Healing. For you to heal for real. So this is September. It's a beautiful place. All right. I am glowing because I am healed. When you see me smile, it's because I'm healed, not showing off. It's showing the glory of God, that my God is a good God, a wonderful God. And beauty has come out of it. 6 beautiful children has come out of it. I love on my children. But when they are stepping wrong, I tell them you're wrong. And if there are people in their lives that are wrong, I say, watch out, because God has given me discernment on top of experience. So I refuse to have things repeat because I said to God, it stops with me. Everyone has to go through their experience. Breakups happen, but we have to live and move on. One door closed, there's a bunch open behind you. I can literally open up this curtain behind me, and there's a whole world out there waiting for you. So stop dwelling on what they did to you, said to you, and move on. And you'll glow like me with all sincerity. Shemergence. It's September, y'all. It's my birth month. and I am glowing in the favor of God, in the love of God, in the healing of God. And I love you with my whole heart. I have no enemies. I love everyone. I might not like what you do, and I tell you, and I'm done. I don't dwell. I don't dwell. I don't hold grudges because God told me vengeance is His. He only wants me to be happy and healed and pouring into individuals, pouring into you. Share it. Share this live. The Shemergence Virtual Conference is a gift to you. Just share it. I am Dr. Lynn J. And this has been my story and my journey. And it will continue as long as there's breath in my lungs and speech and a hand to write, because I will continue writing and also helping you write your story. That is my purpose in life. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned for the other series that will be coming on as we close out the Shemergence Virtual Conference. I just had to put a pin in it because it's a special month and I got a special love for you. I love you. I love you. I celebrate you. I see you. Let's heal for real because it's a beautiful place. It's a radiant place. Oh, it's amazing. Amazing, amazing, amazing. So all you need to do is go ahead and just pre-order. Pre-order. Get your copy of the Shemergence book by me, Dr. Lynn J. All right, let me pull that back up before we close out. Get your copy. Get your copy. Get your copy. It's beautiful. This table is set like Psalms 23. Don't be afraid of it. It was set for you. Heal and sit down beautifully. This is your seat at the table. It's time for you to emerge. Thank you for watching, everyone. I love you all. And let's keep celebrating. Bring on the brunches, bring on the celebrations. I love you. Bye bye. Shemergence.com to get your autographed copy. Amazon, you can get it anytime, but not autograph. Choose whichever you want. God bless you and bring in all those reviews. Until next time, bye bye.